not quite sure what this video is. It's going to be kind of a look back at some of the things that I've bought over the years and reviewed, and kind of everything that I own. And almost everything is Canon. But I figured right now the days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer. It's a great time to buy cameras. It's a horrible time to use them because you get less light. So you got more time to watch more videos. So here's a good video to go over all that stuff you just saw under the tree. And basically I'm just going to grab a box and go over what I think of the product. Is it useful? Is it, kind of give it a rating, and we'll go from there. So it's that simple. Let's get started here. I moved them all to a little area right here and make this simple. All right, so let's get started here. The 50mm, Canon 50mm. Actually, I'm filming with it right now, and I have no lights going on in here. This is a pretty dark room, and that's exactly why I got this guy, for this type of footage right here. And I'm filming this on the 6D Mark II. So I put out a lot of videos about this. It's a fantastic lens. It's got a lot of purposes. There are a couple things about it that you need to know going into buying it. First of all, it does not have image stabilization, so all of your video footage tends to get fairly choppy pretty quickly, and that can be a problem. But you can get a gimbal or something like that, or use some image stabilization footage if you need to. But this lens is fantastic for portraits because it's an f1.8 aperture. It's considered a prime lens, and it comes in at around $125 almost all year. I mean, it rarely goes much lower than that, but it's a excellent lens for beginners. I call it kind of the learning lens, and it's just an awesome all-around lens. Everybody should have one if you're going to take photography seriously. All right, let's keep it moving here. What are we going to here? Okay, let's grab this guy. I'm seriously not grabbing these in any order. I'm just grabbing boxes. But I'm going to stick with lenses here, so I've got a lot of camera bodies too. So the EFS 55 to 250. Oh, one more thing I want to say about that 50mm that's nice about it. That lens is compatible with crop sensors like the T7i, and it's also compatible with full frames like the 6D Mark II that I'm using right now. So that's one of the few lenses that I owned that I could use on both, because it's got it's an EF lens. So remember this: if you're going to get a full frame camera, EF lenses only. EFS lenses will not work on a full frame camera. Just keep that in mind. All right, now moving on. The EFS 55 by 250. That's this guy right here. A nice little zoom lens. I think not only does everybody need a 50mm f1.8, but they also need a zoom. This is what you're going to use outdoors, at the zoo, bird watching, stuff like that, when you want some distance. This is not something you're going to use indoors unless you have amazing light. And we're going to get into that through a lot of these lenses. And you're going to notice kind of a theme here that when you want to get things that are good in lower light, typically the price starts to go way up. So keep that in mind. But this guy gives me really sharp images in good light. I've used it at the zoo. I made a video about it. I use it all the time when I go places. Again though, this is an EFS only, which means it's only good on the crop sensor. You cannot use this guy on a full frame camera. So, a zoom lens. I'm telling you, if you are new to photography, the first thing you're probably going to want to get is a zoom lens. This guy here, if you get a crop sensor camera, you can get these guys for like $100. The 55 by 250, and there's a bunch of variations of these. You need a zoom. Everybody needs a zoom. A long range zoom. Okay, let's grab something else here. Let's go with this guy. All right, this is actually my newest addition to my lineup. It is the EF 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 2 USM, which is, whoa, this big, huge beast right here. It's my first L series lens. It is, it's considered to be like one of the best out there. And I use this on the 6D Mark II that I just got. I just got this also. This is my big present to myself for Christmas this year. So Merry Christmas to me. And this guy is, I don't know what to say about it. It's phenomenal. I was going to film this with it, but the 50 millimeter is actually f1.8 and this is f2.8. And I think the 50 does a really good job right here. And plus I want to show you this. But I'm going to be making a video on this, and I'm going to be using this for most of my videos from now on. So this paired with the 6D Mark II, I'm expecting a huge boost in my video quality. So that's pretty exciting. Here, let me get, I'm showing, as this video has been going here, I will be having like, you know, some samples along with the, what I'm showing. But yeah, so this guy here, oh, I'm super excited about this. I got all winter to play with this too, indoors. God, this time of year sucks. Sorry, but it does. I like to be outside and doing stuff, and I'm stuck inside. It gets dark at like 4:30. No time to do anything. All right, let's keep it moving. Here we go. The EF 40 millimeter f2.8. So this is a tough one here. I love this lens. It's an EF 40, and up till I got the 24 to 70, this was the widest. And on the full frame sensor, this guy was like a 24, the 24 millimeter on a crop sensor. That was the equivalent. Like, so having this on my full frame, if you understood what I meant, is like having the 24 millimeter on the T7i. And it was extremely sharp on the T7i. And it's extremely sharp on the 6D Mark II. It's just a sharp lens. Again, no image stabilization. The price on this has dropped, actually. It used to be like around $199. Now it's down to about I think $129 most of the time now. But I put a video up about this as well. I've had this for a little bit. This is one of the sharpest lenses I ever used on the T7i. And it just gave great photo, great video. It gave me better bokeh than I expected, being an f2.8 on a crop sensor. All around excellent lens. And honestly, if you pair this with the 50, it's just enough of a difference to make it worth your while, I think, personally. But I want every single lens on the market. I'm kind of in that rut now. All right, let's go. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting into some tricky territory here. The EFS 10 to 18 millimeter, which is this guy right here. Okay. The reason I say this is kind of tricky is because this is an excellent lens on a crop sensor. Because the crop is 1.6 on the Canon, I have the T7i. You need something like this to get it even remotely as wide as a lot of the photos you want to take. And so I got this, and you know, not knowing much about it, I immediately started taking photos indoors because it got the whole room, and I noticed how grainy it was because this is coming in at f4.5. f4.5. So you need amazing light, or else the footage with this thing is horrible. So, okay, so you need amazing light, but if you can get that light, this thing is really cool. And when I say cool, I mean it's unique. It does bow the image substantially at 10 millimeter, so you're gonna have some of that. But honestly, I got the best picture I've ever gotten with this guy, in my opinion, of my son on the dock. I have I printed it out. I've got a big photo of it, and it's one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. It's just really cool. So I really like this lens. EFS, so it does not work on my 6D Mark II that I'm shooting with now. which is fine because I've got the 24 to 70, and that 24 is a really wide, on a full frame it's really wide, so I don't really need a 10 to 18, but it would have been nice if this would have worked there. So anyways, let's keep it moving. Let's see, what's this? Okay, I just did that one, but that box is so big. What's this? Ah, okay. The 85 EF 85 millimeter f1.8. That is this guy right here. Okay, this guy here is fairly new for me. I got this primarily for portraits, and it's a solid lens. It's fairly heavy. Like I said, it's an EF, so it works on both the crop sensor and the 6D Mark II, so you can use this on the T7i. So I'll put up some samples here, but again, this no image stabilization. Oh, I forgot to mention about that last one. The 10 to 18 millimeter wide angle does have image stabilization. There's a big bonus for it. Anyways, let's go back to this. No image stabilization. Other than that, it's just a solid f1.8 that gives you good bokeh. Good for portraits, but you got to kind of keep that shutter speed up because without image stabilization, unless you're in like really, really good light, that you got to keep that shutter speed up. I mean, that's all there is to it, or else it gets kind of blurry. So, or keep it, or take photos on a tripod. But really sharp. You saw some samples, so let's keep it moving. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna grab this. Ooh, I gotta get this guy. Okay, here it is. This here, right here, up to this point till I got the 24 to 70, the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter f1.8. I've made about 5 videos on this, and I always close with this because this is the, I mean, this has been my favorite lens since before last Christmas when I bought this. And yes, I spent 20 hours, minimum 20 hours calibrating this thing and experimenting to get it just right for me. And I put up my settings. I made a couple videos on it. If you want to see, there's one, I have a video about it, but phenomenal lens, great indoors. The 18 to 35 is just enough on the crop to give you a good chunk of the view you're looking at. And the 35 is enough range to still get up there and get some good portraits if you want, or to really blur that background at f1.8. I mean, the versatility of this lens is amazing. Now, it is very heavy, but it's probably the best made lens, like the most solidly well-made lens I've used. Tack sharp, downfall, no image stabilization, which Sigma seems to not put on most of their lenses because it's a sharper image without the image stabilization. So this is like really, really sharp, just a really sharp lens. No image stabilization, and it needs to be calibrated. So you also need to buy the Sigma dock. And if you buy that dock, make sure you get it Sigma for Canon, because I accidentally ordered Sigma for Sigma. I was confused, and I got the Sigma dock that wouldn't work with the Canon. Yeah, rookie move. So make sure you get the Sigma for Canon dock. But awesome, awesome lens. My favorite of all time, even though I just got the 24 to 70, which may surpass this in time, but for now, this is awesome. Does not work on the 6D Mark II as far as I can't zoom out. It just totally goes here. I'll just show you. Yeah, so that vignetting, and you just see through a little circle, and yeah, it sucks that it doesn't work on that, but it's still, this with the T7i, awesome, awesome. I just can't say enough about this. If you have the T7i, you need this to, trust me, you will thank me later. Awesome. All right, let's keep it moving here. Okay. All right, accessory time. This here, the Speedlight, which is external flash, mounts up into the hot shoe. I've used it on the T7i. The T7i has the built-in flash, but I still got this for that before I got the 6D Mark II, because the flash was really harsh on the T7i, and I wanted to, and I got that. I wanted to start working on some portrait photography, because as I've said, this is all, you know, a big newer hobby for me. So I got these two together to do portraits, and since it's, like I said, it's going to be a long winter ahead, short days, I'm going to be doing mostly stuff in low or crappy light or dark. I got this guy, and here, I'll just show you some samples. Now, I think that this has made a huge difference. It's got a bounce adapter that clamps on there. On the settings here, I did not do a full review on this yet. I've only had it for a couple weeks, and I really want to learn the stuff before I do any kind of review on it. So that is coming. I'm getting really good with it. I'm not there yet. I still have a lot more to learn. So that's coming. As all I can say right now is this guy is probably one of the more expensive ones. I don't know if I needed to go this route, but I wanted to, because I wanted to know what the AI was all about and that bounce. You know, I'm just a curious person. I wanted to learn all about it. But I could tell you, this is really cool. Flashes, the whole flash photography is a whole different world. If you want to get into it, there's cheaper options you can get. And I would certainly recommend checking that out and learning that if you really want to expand your photography skills. Okay. Like I said, keep an eye out. I'm going to have a full review on this coming out soon with samples and all that stuff. Do I have any more lenses? Nope. Nope. What do we got here? Ah, yes, the PowerShot SX530 HS, which is this guy over here on the table. Okay, so this is a little point and shoot, mid to higher range point and shoot camera. I've got a couple of reviews on this as well, if you want to scroll down and find them. But let's get into it real quick. Great for beginners. Again, at its price point, I think it's between I don't even remember, $200 and $300, somewhere in there. Excellent outdoors, excellent zoom, average to poor indoors and low light. It's just, that's the way it's going to be. I mean, you can try to clean it up a little bit in post-processing, try some noise reduction, but you're just not going to get excellent low light anything around that price range. You're just not. Okay, so again, excellent for outdoors. It can shoot video at 1080p. It's got a built-in flash for indoors. If you want, you can open the flash, and it does take actually pretty good photos with the flash indoors. Cleans it up nicely, works pretty well. Very easy to use. The zoom on this thing is phenomenal. I mean, it's just amazing how far you can zoom. You can, I mean, it zooms 3 to 4 times longer than anything I have for the DSLR. So, and that's exactly why I got this. I actually use this as a kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, a supplemental camera for when I'm out, like if I go out in the woods or bird watching or whatever, or to the zoo. I always take this because of the range on it. And here, well, let me just show you. So I got those photos with this, and I had my DSLR with me, but I couldn't even get close to that with the DSLR. So this guy here has been just a lot of, these zooms are just fun. I mean, you got to have one of these, and they're for a couple $100. You're saving a ton of money versus buying like a 150 to 600. Just buy something like this, and the image quality at 16 megapixels is still good enough to where you can get some excellent bird photos, or you know, just get that far off shot that you can't get with the typical DSLR or mirrorless without putting $1,000 into a lens. So nice little option. Again, good zoom, decent video quality at 1080p. Good for photos, obviously. It's a good little solid camera here. It's the PowerShot SX530 HS. So if you're a beginner and you don't even know if you like photography or you're getting involved, great little option. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's grab this guy. Okay, so now we have the Canon VIXIA. This neat little camcorder. Hold up. Oh, I gotta grab it. There it is. Okay, so this is one of the probably least expensive camcorders you can get that still puts out decent 1080p video. It's tiny, super easy to use, holds an SD card. I don't know, it's got a great zoom. I think it's a couple $100, $150 to 200. I don't know what to say, but I mean, it's just a really easy, fun little gadget to use, and it gives you decent quality. But again, it has to be outdoors in good light. That's the key here, folks. If you want good low light, like you're seeing right here, you're not going to find something super cheap, like in the $150 to $250 range. You're just not. Okay, so you know, keep your expectations reasonable when you're buying these things. Outdoors in good light, this thing's great. So is the SX530. But indoors, you're going to get a lot of grain. You're going to struggle. So, you know, if you're going to take anything away from this video, remember that. But this little guy here, so it's got a variable zoom, which means it can zoom in fairly quickly or slowly. It's got a very long zoom. It's got a lot of image stabilization built in. It's just a good little camera. I mean, a good little camcorder. I've mounted it and just had it sitting there for my kids and kind of had it going off in the background. And it'll run on AC. It's got a little power adapter, so if the battery, which doesn't last long and takes 8 hours to charge, by the way, one of my biggest pet peeves with it, you just plug it in, put it up, and it'll just record, you know, let it go. And it's just a neat little guy. I mean, look how small it is. It's compared to like, here's my 24 to 70. So yeah, tiny. It doesn't take much to throw in a bag and take with you. So it's convenient. But again, you're not going to get any kind of awesome quality indoors. So keep your expectations realistic here, folks. That's a big key here. That's where I'm noticing a lot of people are having issues here, is because, you know, that's when the disappointment sets in. When you buy something and your expectations are up here, but the reality is the product you're buying, either you were misinformed or you don't know, but the product, the reality of it, it's maxed out down here. So when you got these expectations, this huge gap in the middle there, that's where you're running into the problems. It's not because the product's bad or anything. You just maybe had the wrong information or you thought too highly of it going in. You just got to be realistic. Okay, so let's keep it moving. What's this guy? Oh, it's so far away. Okay, I have made basically this whole channel around this guy here. This is my beloved T7i. I don't even know what to say about this. I've got so many videos about it, but if you're getting started into photography and you want to take it seriously and really learn, but you don't have a ton of money, this line here, and not just the T7i, I mean, if you want to go the SL2, the T7i, or the 77D, I would recommend any of those. I think these are just fantastic devices, each of them. I mean, they record in 1080p at 60 frames a second. They have excellent sensors. They have excellent processors that do really well in low light with the ISO and stuff like that. It's basically Canon's newest technology in their DSLRs, because I think the last thing they released DSLR-wise was the 6D Mark II that I'm shooting with, because since then it's all been mirrorless. So this has their most up-to-date technology, and it's still a year or so later as far as what they have in their DSLRs. And right now it's coming up on Christmas 2018. So, and another thing is a lot of these cameras right now, since the Canon EOS R came out, these cameras dropped in price a ton. So like I got the 6D Mark II for like $1,000 off its original MSRP. So, and it came with the free grip. I mean, and then this guy I've been seeing here, the T7i, which I absolutely love. And if you want to know more about this, watch my videos. It's honestly excellent image quality, super easy to use, super comfortable. I could hold this thing all day. It's lightweight, it's small compared to, like, I didn't realize and appreciate that aspect of it, how small and lightweight it was, until I got the 6D Mark II. And that thing is just huge. It's heavy, especially with some of these L lenses. you put the grip on it and forget it. It's like carrying a bowling ball. Thing is insane. I'll show you that here in a minute. But yeah, this guy here, excellent camera. So the T7i. Now I will say this right off the bat: if you get this lens right now, and it's your first camera, and you get it with the kit lens, well, let's go back to what I just said about expectations not meeting reality of the situation here. The kit lens is just probably one of the cheapest lenses that they just threw in there, obviously, to save money, so just something to have on there. It works. It's not great. It's not even good in low light. Okay, your cell phone's going to give you better quality than the kit lens. First thing you want to do when you get that thing, honestly, is get out there and get a... Oh, shoot, that's something I forgot here. Go out and get yourself like a 24 millimeter that's on here right now, or a 40 millimeter, 50 millimeter, for around 120 bucks. Get something like that, and you will instantly notice a lot better quality, especially indoors. Because like I said, a lot of people are getting their first camera right now, and they're stuck inside experimenting with it, and they're all like, this is horrible, these pictures are crap, my cell phone takes better photos. Yes, it does, because you're using a kit lens that's at f4, f4.5 most of the time. I mean, if you're lucky, you might have got an f3, 3.5, but I mean, most of them are, kit lenses are crap, especially in low light. That's what I'm talking about. So you need to either just skip the kit lens, buy the body only, and get like a 24 millimeter to start, the Canon 24 millimeter, which, by the way, let me talk about that. I don't have the box for that. I don't know where that is, but did I pull that out? But anyways, the Canon 24 millimeter, I've reviewed it also. Excellent lens for anybody. Almost every situation it's a good lens for. It's not phenomenal in any situation. Like, it's not a specific like specialty lens, but it's good in every situation. So if you ever get in a bind, other than telephoto, if you ever get in a bind, just throw the 24 on there and you're good to go. Now, one thing, the 24 is EFS, so it will not work on the 6D Mark II or any full frames. But like I said, if you got the T7i or the SL2 or the 77D or the 80D or the 70D or any of those, the T5i, scrap that kit lens, go straight to the 24 if you can, or something else, and you'll instantly notice better quality all the way around, better image quality. Okay, because remember, the image quality is not in the body as much as it is in the lens and how that lens deals with the light. So all you first timers out there, don't waste your time with that kit lens. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to be disappointed because you're going to be stuck inside like everybody else, wishing you could take these beautiful photos, and you're going to go up, but oh, that's all grainy. Just keep that in mind. All right, I'm rambling and I love it. Next, the battery grip that I just spoke of. Let me show you the size of this thing. This is the grip for the 6D Mark II. Came with it, so I didn't buy this. And no, I'm not affiliated with Canon at all. Not that I wouldn't take anything if they offered it, but let me show you the size of this grip. Okay, here's the T7i. Here's the grip. Look at the size of this thing. Huge, and it's heavy. It is really heavy. And can you see the size difference here? Here. Get off my face. Get on there. All right. So yes, huge difference when this is on that. What I'm filming with now. Here, let me just show you a picture of it. Or a little video. Okay, so that thing gets heavy fast. And this holds a couple batteries. And the T7i, I don't even think has a grip available. But here, this comes out, holds a couple batteries. And believe it or not, these grips are kind of funky. The battery cover back of the 6D Mark II actually pops off, and then it kind of like folds and pops onto here. Oh, here, let me show you. So yeah, that, and then how that screws on. But this is really cool though, because when it is on, and once you have a few minutes to recover from the weight of this thing, having this up there and these settings back here, I mean, for portraits, I didn't realize how useful that is for portrait photography. If you're not doing portrait photography though, it just adds a lot of weight, and it's worthless for landscape. I mean, unless you really need the extra battery, which you probably won't because it lasts forever. That battery just lasts a long, long time. Which takes me to my final box. Oh, if I could get it. Okay, my new guy here, the 6D Mark II, which I am filming with now, like I said. And I have not done a review on this yet. It's new. I've compared it to the T7i, my initial thoughts, and I've been using the heck out of it. I use it every single day since I've got it. I use it every day. I'm experimenting, I'm learning it, and so far what I can say is I'm starting to learn how to utilize that full frame versus the crop sensor, and I'm starting to see the importance of why you would want a full frame. But unless you really know, like unless you really start to learn photography and learn all the, you know, the f1.8 versus f2.8 versus f7 and why different shutter speeds, and you know, you learn all those settings. Unless you start to learn all that and really understand how that affects your photo and everything, I don't know if you're going to get the full advantage of a full frame camera. You know, maybe you will shooting full auto, but like I go in there and I change every setting and tweak it here and there so I can manipulate the photos to look the way I want. And this camera, although it's still considered entry-level full frame, it just seems like it's got some features that make it easier to do that with than it does with the T7i. Now a lot of the stuff I can still do on the T7i that I do on the 6D Mark II. Like for example, I can change the picture profile, and that makes a huge difference for video especially. So that way, like right now, I don't have to go into post-processing and bump up the contrast and bump up the saturation and all that, because I've already done that. So what it looks like right now is how I want it to look. Like this is the final product. Yeah, I probably could use some more light, keep the ISO down a little bit, but I'm fine with this. This is kind of the look I'm going for. It's a relaxing night coming up on Christmas. This is what I wanted. With photos, the f2.8 actually with the full frame is giving me like an f1.8-ish, f2, versus the T7i, which I think is bumping up. It's weird how the full frame and the numbers kind of work differently because it is a full frame. And I'm learning that like I'm getting the same effects from the f2.8 24-70 that say my Sigma 18 to 35 gives me on the T7i, if that makes sense. So now the f1.8, there's nothing on the Canon that I own that would match the f1.8 on a full frame. There's nothing that matches this on there. So yes, I'm starting to utilize the LCD screen on top. That is, I mean, all these things they're starting to come into play. It's just been taking some time. So, yeah, this is my new baby here, the 6D Mark II. I'm going to go over a lot of videos with this coming up because I don't care what other people say about it. You know, it's something people are going to be interested because of its price point. And that's exactly why I got it, because the price point dropped drastically. And it's a lot of fun to use, and it's extremely useful for anybody who loves photography. So I'm not one of those guys who likes to crunch all the numbers. I know that all those specs matter, but it's the accumulation of everything in the camera and the experience of using it, in my opinion, that is more important than if it can record 4K at 60 frames a second. You know, I'm sure that'll change someday, but for right now, what I like to use it for, what I like to do for the photos that I'm learning to take, for all this stuff, those specs, this has enough on the spec side to give me what I want and the quality that I'm expecting. So I'm perfectly happy with that. And I'm excited to learn more. And then with the addition of this guy here, oh boy, these things. I was not going to get this, but once I got this, I had to break down, and I had to. Super excited about that. But anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap this up. This has been going on forever. And I don't know, like I said, it's the time of year when it's the easiest time to buy cameras because everything's coming down in price, and it's the holiday season and you're probably getting it. And it's the hardest time to use it because of the light. And let's be honest, if you watch this entire video and you're to this point, this has been a long video. But it's just stuff I wanted to talk about because this has been awesome. Awesome year and a half of learning all this. I've gotten all this in like the last year and a half. I'm just obsessed with it. It's so fun. Photography, videography, all of it combined. And I still have more stuff. I got a crane, Zhiyun crane gimbal. Folks, this stuff is a lot of fun. You know, if you have any questions at all about any of these products here, feel free to ask me because that's why I'm making these videos. I enjoy talking, I enjoy showing what they can do and talking about them and sharing this experience with you guys. So if you have any questions, ask. There's a lot of people that will answer them. Other than that, thank you for watching. Subscribe. Have a fantastic day. Happy holidays. Be safe out there. And that's it. Now I got to put all this stuff away before my kids tear through it. All right. Thanks.